The regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Peoria Local School District is called to order at 5:45 p.m. in the Tarbox Center Conference Room. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cioli here. Mrs. Foley is absent. Mrs. Grega? Here. Mr. Leidig?
Here.
Mrs. Pfister?
Here, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any committee reports?
Safety committee. We'll do safety next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Administrative update, Mr. Porcello.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chesker. It's been a busy month here. Let's start off with Power of the Pen. Congratulations to our 7th grader, Anwita Sill, who represented Perry Middle School at the Regional Power of the Pen tournament on March 7th. She received a medal certificate and will be invited to attend the state tournament at Ashland University in May. Her coaches, Mrs. Basinger and Mrs. Seifrick, are beyond thrilled for her. Congratulations. Staff Engagement Open House. During our Professional Development Day on February 13th, our staff was able to tour some of our amazing career education spaces that provide awesome opportunities for our students. Staff members had a great time checking out PEEP Service Learning at the elementary school, the Career Exploration Lab at the middle school, the Welding Hub, the Home Renovation Site, the Certified Nursing Assistant Classroom, and the Automation Hub at the high school. Several of our staff members even got to weld. It was a great opportunity for staff to explore some of the career experiences available to our students that they may not otherwise get to see. And it really was neat to see like the crossover of the different buildings. Like elementary teachers often get stuck in their building, high school student or staff get stuck in their building. So it was a really well-designed day by our staff. As far as the county spelling bee, congratulations to Alphonse Merck, our district spelling bee champion. He placed 4th in the county spelling bee, which took place at Auburn Career Center on February 10th. We had elementary literacy night. Thanks to everyone who came out and joined us for our elementary schools literacy night this past Wednesday, which wrapped up their one school, one book activity. Students and parents alike had fun socializing, playing games, and visiting the book fair. A special thanks to all of our staff and volunteers who once again organized this event. Buckeye Boys Girls Estate is an annual event that some of our females and male students. They have different events that go on, get to attend. This past week, Tom Anderson came out to present and representing American Legion Post 697, a plaque showing appreciation to the school for the support that they provide in helping select students and making it possible with the communication. We do thank our students that attend every year and the American Legion Post 697, who do a great deal in making that possible. As far as our high school music department, I'd like to give a shout out to the department for the busy month that they had during the month of February, on top of hosting multiple districts for the LCMEA choir concert on February 28th and 28 schools this past weekend, including 35 band and choir performances for the OMEA District 7 large group adjudicated event. The department also hosted their first ever Informants, which was a hybrid educational event and performance that showcased our students learning in an open rehearsal featuring our high school treble choir and band. Each group rehearsed on stage in front of an audience for approximately 30 minutes. During their spring concert in April, those who attended the Informants will be able to see the growth from rehearsals to the performance. Exciting news, special thanks to our athletic boosters for the new scores table in the competition gym. The athletic boosters provided the funds to be able to purchase this new item for our high school gym. The former table was over 20 years old, and this table will enhance the look of our events in the gymnasium for years to come. Until that old table passes its time, we will be using it at the middle school as long as it lasts. PSL DC trip. Our PSL students had an incredible 48-hour trip to Washington, D.C., which was entirely student planned and led. Designed for students interested in teaching and public service, students met with Senator Husted and Congressman Joyce staff regarding Department of Education funding, attending a behind-the-scenes Capitol tour, visited 2 Gold Ribbon Service Learning Schools, toured the Naval Academy, and volunteered at the Capitol Area Food Bank DC Central Kitchen. As always, we appreciate our PSL staff, Mr. Soder, and Mrs. Trentinelli, for making these opportunities possible for our students. As you know, the Chicago trip is an annual piece. This was planned by students, and they were able to check off a lot of boxes there and had a great time. As far as our staffing process, it's that time of year. I'd like to give a special thanks to our principals and the leadership team for their work over the past month in completing our annual review of staffing needs for the upcoming school year. This process includes analyzing enrollment projections, student course requests, and overall student needs to ensure we're maximizing our current funding levels. Perry has followed this thoughtful and data-driven approach for staffing for many years, for many of the past years. I know I've been involved in the process for the past 15. Where appropriate, we also explore shared service opportunities with neighboring districts to remain fiscally responsible while maintaining strong programs for students. Our district has been a leader in the area of shared services for well over a decade, and we'll continue to pursue these opportunities moving forward. Update on the scoreboard. Special thanks to TJ Rockwell and Jim Smith for their continued work with exploring the best scoreboard replacement for Alumni Stadium. Our current scoreboard is 20 years old and many parts are no longer supported for replacement. Mr. Rockwell will be working over the next 30 days to secure commitments for sponsorship with a goal of offsetting the majority of the cost as possible over the next 10 to 15 years through sponsorships. As far as our shared visioning process, Ariana, Alan Kellogg, and I have completed time with 11 different groups, 8 different adult groups, and 3 different student groups. It's been very good to hear the voice of all of our stakeholders in those settings. A lot of different common themes are starting to present themselves. Our hope is to break down all that information in the next couple months, work with our Business Advisory Council, and share out what has come forward as sort of our promises, what makes Perry special, our priorities moving forward, and what our students need for their future. This is a process. It's not something that we do and 10 years later we recycle on it. The goal would be every 3 to 5 years, circle back around with all the stakeholders and get voices involved there. We do have a community night this Thursday. We have 31 people that have RSVP'd so far. So we look forward to going through that very similar process with community members on Thursday night in our high school media center. And finally, some athletic highlights. Girls basketball team advanced to the district final for the 4th year in a row, but fell to Gilmore Academy 42-35. Nonetheless, a great season for our girls. Swimming, Brody Hicks, Noel Griffith, and Traxton Richards, actually in diving for Traxton, advanced to the OHSA State Swim and Dive Championship for the 2nd year in a row. Brody finished 6th in the state in the 50 freestyle. He graduates this year holding every individual Perry individual swim event record. Quite an accomplishment, quite a swimmer. Wrestling won the sectional tournament at Kenston, then followed that up with winning our first ever Division II district championship at Kenston the following weekend. We advanced 4 wrestlers and 2 alternates to the OHSAA State Wrestling Championships. Anthony Tretnelli, Chan Schlau, Antonio Spertone, Trent Taylor, Landon Rusnick, and Dante Pachenko were state qualifiers for the boys. We ended up with 3 Pirates on the podium this past weekend in Columbus. Chan Schlau took 3rd, Trent Taylor 7th, and Anthony Tretnelli took 8th. Congratulations to all those qualifiers. As far as girls wrestling, they finished 3rd out of 31 team at sectionals, advancing 4 girls to the districts and ultimately 2 on to the state championship. Abby Cornwell and Gigi Dominish were our state qualifiers. Both finished on the podium in 5th place this past weekend in Columbus. And finally, indoor track state championship. Emily Meckenbauer, was a state champion in shot put at the indoor meet. Hazel Kinnanen finished 5th in the 400 meter, and Traxton Richards finished 3rd in pole vault and 6th in long jump. Once again, congratulations to all of our athletes for their continued success and represent our school in a great manner. So, and this concludes my administrative update.
Thank you, Mr. Porcello. Public participation. Ms. Schultz?
I was gonna go with the second half, that's okay?
Yep, no problem.
Thank you so much.
Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So,
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Grega?
Yes.
Mr. Laydick?
yes.
Mrs. Preston?
Yes.
Mrs. Seal?
Yes.
Mr. Porcello, superintendent's report.
Thank you. Item A, approval of 26-27 phase-in schedule. The board is asked to approve the 26-27 phase-in schedule below for grades preschool through 4 as recommended by the local superintendent, director of student services, and building principal. Special note here, this is the same phase-in schedule that we ran this year with grades 1 through 4, one of them starting one day and the other half starting the next day. And then preschool and kindergarten is what we have followed the past several years. Item B, personnel approval of leave of absence. in accordance with the terms and conditions of the collective bargaining agreement, Ohio Revised Code, and their applicable leave balance. The board is asked to approve leave for the individuals listed below as recommended by the local superintendent, director of student services, and building principal. Item C, personnel approval of LPDC member change. The Board of Education has requested to approve the employment changes resulting from the retirement of the individual listed below for the supplemental committee positions indicated for the 25-26 school year, as recommended by the local superintendent and director of innovation and learning. D, personnel approval of appointment curriculum hours. The board is asked to approve the employment of the individuals listed to complete the curriculum work at the rate of pay of $36 per hour and for the maximum number of hours indicated as recommended by the local superintendent and director of innovation and learning. E, personnel approval of appointment independent study. The board is asked to approve the employment of the individuals listed for the second semester independent study supplemental position and rate of pay indicated for the 25-26 school year as recommended by the local superintendent and building principal. F, personnel approval of appointment. The board is asked to approve the employment of the individual listed for the position indicated pending successful completion of required employment paperwork, verification of proper licensure, training, and background check as recommended by the local superintendent and director of student services. In that box below, it should say that we'd like to add and amend it that there would be an added probationary period that would run from March 17th to June 2nd, 2026, which is a standard part of the negotiated agreement. Item G, personnel approval of appointment non-athletic supplemental 25-26. The board is asked to approve the employment of the individuals listed for the 25-26 non-athletic supplemental position and rate of pay indicated, pending successful completion of required employment paperwork, verification of proper licensure, training, and background check, as recommended by the local superintendent and building principal. H, approval of appointment non-athletic supplemental 26-27. The board is asked to approve the employment of the individual listed for the 26-27 non-athletic supplemental position and rate of pay indicated, pending successful completion of required employment paperwork, verification of proper licensure, training, and background check, as recommended by the local superintendent and building principal. I, personnel approval of appointment athletic supplementals. The board is asked to approve the employment of the individuals listed for the 25-26 athletic supplemental position and rate of pay indicated, pending successful completion of required employment paperwork, certification, training, and background check, as recommended by the local superintendent and athletic director. J, approval of appointment prep stipend. The board is asked to authorize the chief financial officer to compensate the certificated licensed teachers listed who are entitled to the $1,000 contractual stipend for their work during the 25-26 school year, as recommended by the local superintendent, chief financial officer, and building principal. K, personnel approval of appointment head custodians. The board is asked to approve the following employees as summer head custodians according to OPC 367 contract, Article 5.09, as recommended by the director of maintenance and operations and the local superintendent. L, personnel approval of appointment. The board is asked to approve the individuals listed for the summer 2026 position and rate of pay noted, pending successful completion of required employment paperwork, certification, training, and background check, as recommended by the local superintendent and director of maintenance and operations. M, personnel approval of appointment substitutes. The board is asked to approve the individuals listed for the 25-26 daily substitute position listed, as recommended by the local superintendent. N, personnel acceptance of resignation. The board is asked to accept the resignation from the individual listed from the position noted as recommended by the local superintendent. O, approval of modified exempt employee benefits, EEB. The board is asked to approve the updated exempt employee benefits in the fiscal year 27 through 28 exempt salary schedules as recommended by the local superintendent and chief financial officer. P, approval of modified administrative employee benefits, AEB. The board is asked to approve the updated administrative employees benefits in the 27-28 administrative salary schedules as recommended by the local superintendent and chief financial officer. Q, approval of policy, second reading. The board is asked to adopt the new / revised board policies listed as recommended by the local superintendent. And R, approval of policy, first reading. The board is asked to consider the following revised board policy as a first reading for future action as recommended by the local superintendent. Draft policy is available for review below. And this concludes my superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Porcello. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Grega,
Yes.
Mr. Leidig,
Yes.
Mrs. Preston,
Yes.
Mrs. Seoly.
Yes.
Mrs. Capo, Chief Financial Officer's report.
Thank you. A, approval of financial reports. The board is asked to approve the financial reports from February 2026 as recommended by the Chief Financial Officer. B, tax budget resolution. The board is asked to accept the rates listed below as determined by the Lake County Budget Commission. Authorize the necessary tax levies and authorize the Chief Financial Officer to certify them to the county auditor as recommended by the Chief Financial Officer. C, contracts and agreements, benchmark education. The board is asked to approve the 2-year purchase agreement with Benchmark Education for Ohio, required HQIM leading curriculum at Perry Middle School. Perry Local Schools has entered into, will enter an agreement with Benchmark Education for $16,233 for 5th grade ELA as budgeted from the curriculum budget and recommended by the Director of Innovation and Learning and the Chief Financial Officer. D, acceptance of grant funds. The board is asked to accept the following grant funds and approve the appropriations for such grants to be placed in the indicated accounts as recommended by the Chief Financial Officer. And this concludes my Chief Financial Officer's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Capo. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? The tax rates are just something we approve every year based on,
Yeah, it's the tax budget we approved in January. It just was certified by the Budget Commission.
okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Leidig,
Yes.
Mrs. Preston,
Yes.
Mrs. Seoly,
Yes.
Mrs. Grego.
Yes.
Any unfinished business? Any new business? We did have resignation of our rec board representative, so we will need to decide how we're gonna move forward with that, if we're gonna accept applications again, or if we're just gonna go, because it wasn't that long ago that we had applications, so I don't know if anyone had any thoughts.
Can reach out to the people that applied before.
Do you wanna open it up and try to have a,
I had someone reach out to me because these are public knowledge.
yeah,
And it was a previous representative that you guys had. I think Jesse, you had nominated him, Tom Hadley.
Okay.
Had reached out and said he would like to serve back on it.
okay.
I told him that I would discuss, bring it to everybody's attention tonight.
Yeah, we had another applicant as well, so I think if we like open it up and make a decision at the next meeting, I think that would be some time for people to decide if they were interested, and then we could move forward then, if anyone.
I think last time we had probably 3 or 4 people.
We had a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More
So
than we
we've gotten
expected.
2 so far now that have just heard about it, so I'd like it's fair if people know.
So for Monday next meeting?
Yeah, when is our,
So we have, next Monday is a work session, or we can go April 13th, which is our next regular meeting.
so it's, I mean,
When's the next rec board meeting?
not sure, but
They just.
Yeah, because it's right after Fall Festival, so it's gonna be the first to Monday. So it'll be, I don't know what the first Monday in April is.
Okay.
It would be this April 6th, I think, then.
yeah, I think it's best not to rush it though, so let's give it, and if we get an onslaught of things before the next meeting, we're ready to make a decision, then we can, and if, you know, we can, if not.
How do you want to communicate
So
it
can we
out?
communicate like on our, just whatever Mr. Kellogg thinks is appropriate and what we've done in the past, and then we could put it out there to, you know, I think asking for a week or so is
Yeah,
probably
So something like via Parent Square
Yeah.
and social media.
wherever people, and we just did a communication survey, so we know where people like to get their information from. So those things.
Okay.
Okay, where are we? Correspondence and announcements. There will be no classes held March 30th to April 6th for spring break. The next regular Board of Education meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 5:45 PM in the Carver Center Conference Room. We didn't have any communications or anything to the board. And public participation.
Thank you. Good evening, members and Board of Education. I understand that the data center developer has propose to you all purchasing the walking path easement located on Champion Farms property. And in exchange, the developer has reportedly offered funding equivalent to some of the things our district wants: a scoreboard, hearing aids in the classrooms. And after reviewing the district's most recent 5-year financial forecast, including both the favorable and unfavorable scenarios, showing the projected deficit spending, I believe that the proposal deserves some thoughtful consideration. Constructing and maintaining a walking path is not simply a one-time cost for our district. It would require ongoing liability insurance, construction funding, maintenance, and long-term operational oversight. Additionally, there could be some required additional costs relative to what they have to do for the areas affected by the wetlands, the drainage ditches, and the water features, specifically permits that might have to be engaged to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, as well as a couple of EPA permits that would need to be pulled. These costs typically fall on the person installing these enhancements, and they can be extremely costly. And my fear is that using education tax dollars for the recreational infrastructure during a time when the district is projecting financial challenges could understandably raise some concerns for taxpayers. In addition, I think that our community is very fortunate to already have excellent outdoor resources, including Lake Erie Bluffs, Ulitic Park, Lakeshore Reservation, Beatty Landing, Union Point, Blair Landing, the Outdoor Y, to name a few. And all of these are providing the residents with excellent opportunities, resources, and walking trails. So in accepting this easement proposal, or at least entering into fair negotiations about the same, the school district, while demonstrating a positive first step in establishing a constructive relationship with the developer, this would also serve as a small financial windfall to our district. Building that relationship with the developer early could help facilitate some really meaningful discussions about the future pilot program, which is the payment in lieu of taxes program that they are currently working on, and it is my understanding should be available shortly. This could play an important role in supporting our district's long-term financial stability, as well as the educational opportunities for our students. So I just ask you all to please seriously consider this, and thank you for your time and your continued service to our students and families.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else? Just as an aside, we don't typically go back and forth in public participation. It's more of a, hear your concerns and we reach out later. But I do know that there has been some misinformation out there, so I just want to correct some of the information that's been out there. The 5-year forecast is always going to show that there's a deficit in the next few years. If you look back at the 2024 forecast, I think it showed that we would be in deficit spending this year. So it's always a tool that we use in moving forward and making our decisions and where we're going to spend our money and staffing and all the things that we're going to spend money on to keep the district solvent. I know that a lot of times it comes up and it can look a little bit scary as far as whether, it's in the red in a couple years, but it is a tool. So we have some time to adjust. And there are also some factors that we're not allowed to consider into that. So we're not allowed to consider any retirements in that. We're not allowed to factor in, there's some legal issues that we can't, Mrs. Cable can speak a little bit better to it and she'd probably be happy for the conversation.
Yeah, we can only put in what we know right now, not what we might do or plan to do. So any adjusting in it, that would come, won't be until it's actually been accomplished. So if you look back, even like 22, 21, some of those years, it showed deficit spending in all 5 years. And we always managed to balance the budget going forward. And so it's important, even though it looks like it's deficit spending, we're not like in dire straits. Like Mrs. Trustee said.
Yeah, and the other thing was, and I think that it came across maybe in our minutes and didn't quite translate as the conversation was in the meeting with the favorable versus unfavorable forecast. It's Mrs. Capo is always financially conservative. So there's a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. And so our looking at that, our discussion has been, we want to keep the community informed, but we don't want to unnecessarily alarm anyone. And sometimes if we come out and say, let's go with the unfavorable one, and we know it's going to cause shock to the community, and it's not likely to happen, but we can prepare for it and know it's possible while simultaneously putting out our conservative forecast. So we're aware of both possible scenarios, but we don't want to unnecessarily, like, these things happen every 2 years. We're in the biennial budget talking about finances, and the worst case could happen and the best case could happen. So we want to be mindful of it without constantly saying, like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. So that's something to keep in mind, because I felt like that didn't really translate through our meeting minutes maybe as accurately as the discussion had been. Does anyone feel any differently about that?
Checks out.
And I think across the state, you're going to see a lot of things happening, with the property tax things and all the things that we're talking about. We're always mindful of that and the impact and the potential impact of the school. And, we're looking around us at a lot of districts going for levies and really, neighboring districts that are really in dire financial situations. So we are mindful of that. And we do keep an eye on things. And we've been communicating with the village monthly, having meetings and discussing where things are with the data center, discussing pilot programs, discussing the impacts that things can have on the school. So it's something we're very actively involved in, and just wanted to point that out, make sure that that's clear, that the 5-year forecast, they've even just changed some of the laws with it of things and things that have to be factored into it.
Right.
So
This year's been fun.
yeah, so it's a little bit even more conservative than it has been in the past, but we are.
I just like to present it just so that the board is aware that this is a possibility, not a likely possibility, and perhaps we should have been more clear about that.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've had very, success with being able to continue that freeze, and we're confident that we'll be able to continue to work with our state team to minimize any damage there.
We do appreciate though, the other considerations and people coming out and speaking to what's on their mind and giving us that additional perspective. So thank you so much.
That was one of the big things when it was presented, talking with the school board. Every single one of us wanted to fund it in a creative way and work with, TJ and find ways instead of just looking at that and just writing a check immediately. We all feel, just like you've said, it's so critically important that not only the children we have today, but the children we're going to have 4 years from now and 5 years from now. And I don't want to think about that because my kids all start crying because they're not going to be little anymore. But we are all cognizant of that, so I very much appreciate it.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G2, I move that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of considering the sale of property at competitive bidding, since disclosure at this time would give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage to persons whose personal private interests are adverse to the general public interest. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Truxton,
Yes.
Mrs. Seoli,
Yes.
Mrs. Grega,
Yes.
Mr. Lake.
Yes.
There will be no formal actions after executive session.